How does the marketing team at Apple, Tesla, Netflix, and other giant businesses develop strategies to grow their business, decide on features to add to their products, and price themselves for maximum revenue? And the answer to this lies in understanding brand positioning, which can get complicated. But I'm all about keeping things simple and love frameworks and simple ideas because it's easy to remember. And if it's easy to remember, we are likely to think about it and use it appropriately. So we'll explore one such ideology called Centrality-Distinctiveness, or CD map, for brand positioning. When talking about a particular market or industry, a few brands might come to your mind first, and these brands are said to have more centrality. For example, McDonald's comes to my mind when thinking about fast food, and BMW when thinking about cars. So these brands have more centrality in my case. And if we do the same thinking exercise with an entire demographic, we'll find out the most centrality brands for the whole of that demographic. And these brands fall close to each other on the centrality dimension. On the distinctiveness dimension, we have brands different from familiar brands. When thinking about distinctive fast food, Leon Vegan Burgers comes to my mind, and Lamborghini when thinking about cars. Distinct brands stray away from common centrality brands with features they offer, or being luxurious, or just doing things differently. So now that we understand what centrality and distinctiveness dimensions represent, let's see how this map can help us more with two key metrics, namely sales volume and pricing. And if you only have to get one thing out of this video, then this is it. Think of the centrality dimension in the x-axis as sales volume. So on the left side, we have low sales volume, and as we move to the right, the sales volume increases. Similarly, the distinctiveness dimension, or the y-axis, we have pricing. And at the bottom, we have low pricing. As we move higher up to the top, the pricing increases. Consider this CD map for cars. Here we see that Toyota has the highest score in centrality, and therefore had the highest sales for passenger cars in the United States. And we see that even a slight boost in centrality can lead to a dramatic sales increase for a brand. And if you look at Porsche, which has the highest distinctiveness, you'll notice that the sales volume is meager compared to Toyota. So if higher distinctiveness leads to lower sales, why do brands strive to be more distinct? Well, this is where pricing comes into action. The more different a product, the higher the brands can charge. So that is the fundamental concept of the CD map. And we can summarize what we've seen so far. When a brand has achieved sufficient market presence in a category or demographic that it becomes the first brand in consumers' mind, it has gained more centrality, leading to higher sales volume. On the other hand, the more distinct a brand is, the lower the sales volume and higher the prices. We'll get to the juicy bits, exploring how marketers and strategists can use this map to position their businesses for growth and domination. So far, we've seen just two dimensions, centrality and distinctiveness. Now, let's split the map into 4 quadrants, and we'll start to see what the position on the map says about a brand or its competitors. The 4 quadrant of the CD map can be named aspirational, mainstream, unconventional, and peripheral. Aspirational: these brands are central and distinctive and take advantage of high sales volume and premium pricing. BMW and Mercedes are aspirational brands with the right mix of luxury, pricing, and features in the automotive industry, making them an aspiring brand owned by many yet slightly out of reach. Think of the iPhone when it first came out. iPhone was a kind of an aspirational brand, but not anymore, as the iPhone is now available at low prices and it's quite mainstream in many markets. These aspirational brands have to defend challenges from mainstream and unconventional quadrants. Next, we have the mainstream brands, synonymous with the category, like Google for search engines and Tesla for electric cars. These brands have to advertise, engineer carefully, and develop products to align with popular taste. Staying in this position means being risk averse, as consumers have become accustomed to expecting certain things from these mainstream brands. On the other hand, taking very calculated risks suggests these brands can shape markets and consumer preferences. Coca-Cola did this with diet brands when they recognized that consumers were shifting to low sugary drinks. So these brands have to keep a very close eye on consumer shifts, as unconventional or peripheral brands can become a real challenge if the mainstream brands are slow. A perfect example of this is Tesla, which started as an unconventional or uncommon brand, and now every car maker has its lineup electric cars, as electric cars have become more mainstream. Peripheral. The peripheral quadrant is in the left bottom of the brands. Here, they follow a Me Too strategy. These brands are generally substituted brands, so they cannot command high prices or sales volume as in the aspirational or mainstream brands or quadrants. But this quadrant is still a viable position for a brand with low marketing and innovation costs. Think of brands like Hyundai, Kia, Mazda, which fall in this category, and even a small addition of distinctive features or advertising can impact and move them closer to mainstream brands. Unconventional quadrant. Brands in this final fourth quadrant, unconventional, are niche players. These brands are designed for profitability with low sales volume. For example, cryptocurrency payments started as very uncommon, and to an extent they still are. But with the rise of decentralized applications, cryptocurrency payment will soon become mainstream. An even more generalized example is Tesla, which was unconventional initially and moved into aspirational quadrant, and with the betterment of battery technology are becoming mainstream. Now that we understand the two main axes and four quadrants, the CD map has a few potential applications. Assessing your own brand's position. By plotting your brand on this map, you can determine if your marketing goal of maximizing price or sales is headed in the correct direction. Track your competition. The map reveals a brand's position relative to its competition, and this helps in focusing your competitive efforts. Managing brand portfolio and global brands. By constructing the CD map for each brand in a portfolio in each region, businesses can be more strategic to achieve more outstanding performance. Track and analyze results. Creating the map at regular intervals can help track and analyze brands' efforts in achieving a particular objective. So there you have it. We have the centrality and distinctiveness map along with the four quadrants. And when it comes to applying this CD map in your organization or a startup, I would suggest spending time looking at what the competitive landscape looks like by mapping your competitors on this CD map. Even if the mapping you do is not perfectly accurate, try to be as quantitative as possible, and in the end you'll have a map that you can use to position yourself or your product and even come up with innovations. For example, suppose you notice the most of your products are falling into the mainstream brand and there is a lot of competition, which means it's a red ocean. In that case, you can quickly try to think of other innovations you could make within your product to move up the distinctiveness axis or lower the centrality axis. This way, the product could be considered more aspirational or unconventional, leading you into new categories or the blue ocean. So let me know in the comments if you have a CD map for your organization or your product, and if you have had any difficulties producing them so others can learn from you. And I hope you liked this video. If you did, just send it to one other person who you think might benefit from knowing this information. Until next time, take care.